Hey, good morning, my friends. This is MLive Chief Meteorologist Mark Torregrossa. Welcome to the MLive Morning Weather Update, and we'll probably have MLive afternoon and evening updates over the next several days. So let's talk about the storm. Let's just get the generals out at first. Everything consistent. So we look at several models. We talk about the European, and I look at the GFS, which is the US model. And then as we get in closer, we look at a few more models, and everything quite consistent, although just little fine hair detail differences. So we'll look at that. And so the snow map is pretty solid. The long story short, it's going to be a lot of snow for about 95% of the state. I would say, the Detroit area, Ann Arbor, Monroe, let you off the hook first, probably 4 to 6 inches. In some spots, might only be 3 inches. So that's not a mega snow for you. Then it ramps up quickly going north and west, and then the west half of the state and the northern half of the state, it's a heavy snow. All right, so let's get into it and show you. And yes, Tyler Johnson, everybody, we'll get to the snowfall totals here in just a very short moment. So winter storm watch in effect for all of Michigan. UP has a winter weather advisory right now for some snow, but that changes to a winter storm watch, and it'll be upgraded at least to a winter storm warning or possibly a blizzard warning by the time we get into Friday. They tend to use that, they told me, just in very, very select cases where it's a memorable storm that has the blizzard conditions, which, remember, doesn't have anything to do with snow falling. It has to do with 35-mile-an-hour winds and visibility less than a quarter of a mile for 3 hours or more. And certainly we should reach that criteria, especially in the western and northern half of the state. Maybe not in the southeast, maybe near blizzard conditions. All right, so what we're going to do first is we're going to look at the GFS model, the US model. Now, remember, I always say, the US model, no good. And it isn't until you get into 2 and 3 days. And then it can become better than the European because it has some better physics for things around our region. Now, the difference is not much. In your terms, it's still a wind-blown snowstorm with a blizzard, but in my terms, some differences, quite a bit of differences. The GFS bombs out the storm center right off the tip of the thumb in southern Lake Huron. That's a very classic place for a storm to bomb out because the water is warm, so the storm is attracted to it, and almost like warm water and a hurricane. The European model bombs the storm out, but it takes it past Lake Huron into Ontario, so it's a little bit later on that. And the result is somewhat lighter snowfall in the European versus GFS. Also, remember the GFS is one of the only models of that kind that will calculate a 15-to-1 snow ratio or a 20-to-1 snow ratio, and it will integrate it as we go through the storm. The European, 10 inches to 1 inch of snow is what it always assumes, and very few storms are just like that. So in this case, we may start to lean toward the GFS. So that's what I'm showing you first, okay? So again, today, good travel. This is overnight tonight. This is tomorrow morning, Thursday morning. You might have light snow far northern lower, but southern lower still dry tomorrow. Tomorrow, 11 o'clock, we still continue to look like we're going to be in that dry slot, so you're still traveling good tomorrow morning. 1 in the afternoon, the rain is starting, the snow is starting. 4 o'clock in the afternoon on Thursday, the precipitation starting and around 32, still probably not too bad. Thursday evening, we're starting to get the storm center forming. Thursday night, the colder air is starting to move in, and then we go to Friday morning. The storm center, look at it developing and strengthening, 983 millibars over Oakland County. This is on the GFS, and then look at what it does at Friday morning. This is Friday morning, 7 a.m. So we're into the storm, except for maybe in the thumb. Craig Thornton, what is the content per inch of rain? You know, it'll start 10 to 1, and then as we get into the colder air in the 20s, it'll go to 15 to 1. Hey, good morning, my good buddy Greg Favero watching this morning. We used to work together for years at WNEM in Saginaw. Okay, look at Friday, 11 a.m., 975 millibar low on the GFS at the tip of the thumb, and 971. So this is the difference that makes the difference between a foot of snow in places and 20 inches of snow. The GFS going 20, the European going a foot in places. This is the difference. This right here would be the difference between heavier snow. Oh, Greg Favero rubbing it in from Punta Cana. You're stuck there, buddy. Book another week or so. Won't warm up until Thursday. All right, so this is Friday afternoon and evening. That right there is snowing everywhere, and that is blowing everywhere with 45 to 50 mile an hour gusts. And that right there could be blizzard conditions around Saginaw, Flint, and the Thumb as well. Okay. I may lose you here. My phone might go dead. All right. And then, so then we look into Saturday morning, and it's still going. It's becoming more of a lake effect snow Saturday, but the winds are still gusting over 35 miles an hour. And we go to Christmas Day. You wanted a white Christmas? You got it. Still lake effect snow, winds starting to come down, Arctic air starting to come in. All right, now we look at the European. I've gone a little bit wider of a perspective on the European for you because it bombs out the storm center just off of what would be my Michigan map. So let's look at the European. You can see very similar story, just slightly different details. We'll be getting to the inches here in just a second. So this is Thursday night, and then this is Friday morning. And notice the storm center over Lake Huron into Ontario. This is Friday afternoon. This is Friday evening. So it bombs the storm out, moves it quicker, bombs the storm out a little bit more to the northeast into Ontario. But look at all the isobars, look at all the snow. So basically the story here, short story, is Thursday's okay until evening, then the flash freeze, and then by Friday morning it's a weather you know what show, and that continues through Friday night bad, and then Saturday and Sunday no picnic, still lake effect snow showers, and not done in the Traverse City area until about Monday. So it's a long one. All right, so what are we going to use for snowfall forecast totals? I'm going to use the National Weather Service. That's human beings like me, meteorologists, a bunch of them, hired by you through your tax dollars, looking at all the models, knowing their areas, and then weaving together their forecasts. So Grand Rapids, Southwest Lower weaves its forecast together with Gaylord, weaves its forecast together with White Lake, the Detroit area, Southeast Michigan. They come up with a map. It's a good way to go as a solid forecast. And remember, your app, when you get a snowfall forecast, the app, I think you at least want it from the National Weather Service, but you don't know where it comes from, probably. Unless it's a TV station app, then maybe you know that it's the TV station. All right, so here is the National Weather Service forecast, blending all the models together. No map shown. Would love to see the map. I'm seeing the map. Oh, let's see here. Okay, hold on a second. Did I lose something? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay. Let me just go back real quick. I wasn't showing. Okay, so here's the European. All right. So same deal, but notice bombs it out. 200 miles more toward the northeast, and then continues to show the lake effect. So the same scenario. All right, so now we go back to the snowfall totals. Okay, so this is a snowfall through Thursday afternoon. None. Okay, except for the UP. By Thursday evening, you're an inch or so, Grand Rapids up to the Traverse City area, northern Michigan. Still no snow in the southeast. And then Thursday night, by Friday morning, you're at 3 to 6, west half of the state, 1 to 3, southeast quarter, 3 to 6, north half of lower, over 6 in the UP. Friday afternoon, Friday night. By Friday night, you're, 6 to 10 in the northwest half of the state, over 10 from Cadillac or Big Rapids northward, maybe over 10 Grand Rapids westward, more in the UP. Now we only get out 72 hours, okay? Ed, Suzuki, any dry slots to cut snowfall down? Probably not. So this is as far as we go with the Weather Service forecast, 3 days. This takes us through Saturday morning. This encompasses most of the snow except for lake effect in the northwest corner. So there you see. So let's call it a 4 to 6 inch snow in Detroit, Ann Arbor, Monroe, St. Clair. Let's call it a 6 to 9 inch snow through Flint, the Thumb, Saginaw, Bay City, Midland. I will show you the GFS. It's got 20 inches in a lot of those areas. So we will be keeping an eye on that. The area where there would be a change would be an increase in snow from Saginaw, Bay City, the Thumb to Flint to Lansing. Okay. And then let's call it a 10 to 17 inch snow. Grand Rapids, west to Lake Michigan, all the way north, northern half of lower Michigan, Clare northward, let's call it 10 to 17. UP, let's call it 12 to 24. Grand Traverse area, Traverse City, 12 to 17 should be pretty solid with some isolated 20s. Okay. So that's a lot of snow, right? Detroit, Ann Arbor, not so much. It's a nasty wind-driven snow, near blizzard conditions at times. You get to the Thumb, Saginaw, Bay City, Lansing, probably blizzard conditions at times. You get to west of Lansing, northwest of Mount Pleasant, north of Bay City, and it's blizzard conditions in a lot of places. Okay, so that's the National Weather Service. Now, let's do this. And hopefully you can see it. Let's see. Yeah, I'll make it a little bit bigger. We're going to compare the GFS to the European. And remember, European's been right on as the general picture. KZU Snowfall, Tony, you're 12 to 17. Okay. So what we're looking at now is we're looking at the comparison total snowfall European. Okay, and it looks very similar to the National Weather Service call, 10 to 17 west and 6 to 9, and then in the southeast, 4 to 6. Okay, the GFS. Remember, bombing out over Lake Huron, so it increases the snowfall. Gary Solomon's Traverse City, additional accumulations including lake effect, yes. Saturday night, Sunday, Monday, probably another 3 to 6, but it'll blow around, so you won't be able to measure it. It'll just be a whole lot of snow, and officially Traverse City probably could approach 2 feet. Okay, so this is the GFS bombing out. And remember, the one thing that concerns me about the GFS forecast is it is one of the only models at this time frame that can assume the, what is the word? It's a dynamic snow to liquid ratio. So it knows when it gets colder to take the snow accumulation from 10 inches to 1 inch of water to 15 inches to 1 inch of water to 17 or whatever. It integrates hour by hour. So it can technically have a better forecast in the short term. And then, of course, when we get closer, we use the North America model, NAM model. And when we get really close, we like the high resolution rapid refresh, but that only gives us good snowfall total for the first 24 hours. So we can't use it yet. So I guess what I'm saying here is you saw all the amounts, you saw the timing, nothing's changed, everything's consistent. So I don't see a surprise. Okay, if it does surprise, I'll retire on Monday. I'll say screw it, I'm done. Um, but what I would say is, you have pretty safe travel through Thursday afternoon, early evening, and then we're still looking for that flash freeze, rain for a few hours to quickly roads freezing and then to the snow. So Thursday evening could be very dangerous as the flash freeze moves across the state. We're more quickly going to snow. And then, of course, Friday night, Saturday, nasty travel. Christmas Day is not a picnic. I mean, after 6 to 20 inches of snow, and winds still at 30 miles an hour and temperatures in the single digits, roads don't instantly become beautiful. They are packed, slick ice where you look down it and you say, "Ooh, that's not good." So Christmas Day is not going to be a safe day. I want you to know that. Monday, a little bit better, but bitterly cold, below zero in the morning with the fresh snow. And then by Wednesday, we start to crack the freezing mark and roads should start to improve. There it is. I'm just going to keep you updated now. It's just tracking it along with a lot of fun stuff. I'm going to do some analysis on the bomb cyclogenesis. I did want to show you this too, the wind gusts. Okay, when do they come up? Okay, then we'll take some questions. Eric Suzuki, thunder and lightning possible in bomb weather systems. The precipitation process gets going, so it's possible. That tends to be on a warm front, and we don't have that in this case, but definitely possible. So here's the wind gusts. Here are the wind gusts. Friday morning, and these are not in miles per hour. These are in knots, so you got to add on, let's say 5 to make it miles per hour. So wind gusts by Friday morning up to 40 miles an hour, southern part of the state. And then as we go into Friday afternoon, wind gusts approaching 50, and then Friday evening, that's just plain nasty. Blizzard conditions across the southern half, northwest corner. And then we go to Saturday morning, and as the winds turn northwest, the winds shift to stronger Grand Traverse region. Very dangerous around that region on Saturday with 50-mile-an-hour gusts. And they kind of come down a touch. This is midday Christmas Day. Wind gusts of 35 miles an hour. How's it going to be with fluffy snow, 10 to 20 inches in a lot of places, and 30-mile-an-hour gusts? It's going to be a bad snowstorm. Hey, can I show you one other thing too that I use often? This is what's called the NOAA blend of models. So this is a good way to look at it too. And it often is what they use for their official snowfall forecasts are pretty close. So what they do is they blend the models. I'm always saying the GFS is this and European says this and the NAM says this. They actually have an algorithm that says which one's doing a little bit better, and they shade, hey, let's make this one 60% of the output, this one 30%, this one 10%. They shade it together, and then they come up with a blend of models. And we found that it works quite well. And lo and behold, the blend of models looks exactly. So let's go to some questions, and let's go back to the snowfall map, just because that's what everybody seems to be interested in. Answer some questions. Vern Fondren just jumped on. What's Battle Creek? Battle Creek, I'm going to say you are 11 to 16. Good morning, Jeffrey from Toledo. Will Jackson get legitimate lake effect from this storm on Saturday? Probably not much in Jackson on lake effect. Jackson, by the way, I would call you 5 to maybe 9. Gladwin to Traverse City, Christmas Day, Jim McGuire. I think you got the brains. You'll look out the window and say, nope, not happening. How much for Gladwin County? I'm going to say you're probably Gladwin. You're at least 7. maybe 10. Um, anyone seeing 2 feet of snow in southwest corner by Sunday? Yeah, isolated, isolated areas, a pocket. Let's see. We want to travel to Tennessee. We want to leave Saturday around noon and stop halfway. Would that be okay? Or should we cancel our trip? Ashley McDonald. Well, I wouldn't want to drive to Tennessee. You can see on this map that you still have 4 and 5 inches down into Ohio, and same into Kentucky and Tennessee. No, I wouldn't. Dale Wagner, Hillsdale Jackson area. I'm going to call them 5 to 9 inches. Will it bypass Flint, Tanya? Yes, it'll go right around Flint. No, Flint, you're 6 to 9. What's the best case scenario for Monroe County? Now, what do you mean? Are you on the snow loving side or are you on the snow hating side? I don't know about best case scenario, but what I would say for Monroe County, the low case, 3 inches. The high case for Monroe County, probably 6. When do you think Mount Pleasant will get hit, Ashley Jackson? It'll start Thursday night, and then you'll be into it by Friday morning, and it'll be Friday night, and Saturday for you. Joe Narwatt, blizzard warnings, Mark? Yes. Thoughts? Yes. West half of the state, anything that Grand Rapids covers probably will get a blizzard warning. Anything that Gaylord covers will get a blizzard warning. That'd be the northern half of lower Michigan and the eastern UP. And I would say the Saginaw Valley and the Thumb will probably get a blizzard warning. I don't know if Detroit will issue a blizzard warning for right in the Detroit metro area. Traverse City, I caught tail of your answer earlier. Nicole Fox, Traverse City, easy 12, should be 15, should be 17, maybe isolated 20 by the time it's done Monday morning. What kind of snowfall for Berrien County? You get system and lake effects of Berrien, you're 12 to 20 also. How much for Rockford, Michigan? That's Grand Rapids also. Grand Rapids, I would say 10 to 17. And you just had a whole gob on an isolated lake effect the other day. Battle Creek conditions Friday morning, Cindy Hayes, horrendous. Mount Pleasant, total snowfall. I would say Mount Pleasant at least gets 8. Probably could be 10 or 11. Amount of snow for Saginaw County, Deborah Hauser, 6 to 9. But we do have to watch that GFS for it to go higher. That is going to be the area that could go wrong in the forecast. And, we have that. We have a weather scenario, and we know if it's going to change, which way it's going to change, where it's going to change, who we might be too low on, who we might be too high on. Most everything looks solid, except I don't like that the GFS is bombing out that low pressure center in Lake Huron and bringing 20 inches of snow into the Saginaw Valley area. It's certainly possible if that thing were to bomb out at the tip of the thumb in Lake Huron, it would bog down. It would slow down 6 hours. And then guess what happens? The flakes get real fluffy as the precipitation process increases, and then it really starts to come down. So that would be the issue. And what if you're expecting 8 inches in Saginaw and you get 14? What's the difference? It's all big snow. Okay. Love watching on the news segment. Glad. Okay, Kathy Brown. Good. Thank you very much. How long with the frigid temps? Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and by Wednesday afternoon, many places may be at about 33, 34 degrees. Power outages possible for entire state, Nancy Engel. We don't look for an accumulation of ice on power lines with this. We do look for the first several hours to be a wet snow. Maybe you could get 3 to 6 inches out of this as being wet snow. But power outages, yes, the wind gusts, but I think it would be a dead tree. It's not an ice storm. It's not an ice accumulation, and then these wind gusts. And it is a transition to fluffy snow. So power outages, yes. Widespread, I don't think so, but problematic because it's bitterly cold if it does. All right, we'll go back to the map. Somebody asked here, Sandy Hondrich, friend flying out of Flint Thursday, 12:30 p.m. with a layover, then in Chicago. Thoughts? Well, let's just look. Um, Thursday afternoon, Chicago's in it. Yeah, I think that's going to be a mess for your friend. All right, there you have it. You probably got a lot of weather there. It's a good doozy coming, and you know all the basics. Good to travel today. Safe to get your running around done tomorrow. Be ready by tomorrow evening, and by Friday morning, it's nasty. Pretty simple. We'll keep you updated on any changes on MLive.com. Make sure you bookmark it. MLive.com/weather takes you right there. But they'll be keeping the posts of the active weather stuff right up the top, I'm sure. And now it's tracking Euro versus GFS versus NAM versus high resolution rapid refresh versus my 32 years experience. My 32 years experience says that a warm south end of Lake Huron makes the GFS a certain possibility with a bomb out and an increased flake size and an increased snow ratio to liquid. So we'll have to watch that one very closely. I'm MLive Chief Meteorologist Mark Torregrossa. Please share and please stay with us over the next few days. Stay safe.